where I went to work at as a volunteer to start off with at a place called the Church of St Stephen's on Battersea Park Road, and I went to work as a Manpower Services Commission. Right. Back then it was like the, what do you call it now, Youth Employment Scheme type thing, so it's called the MSC, Manpower Services Commission, to work with young people with disabilities from there. And that's where I found my real vocation. One of the things about me that I've recognised about me is I'm a real people person. I get really deep on certain things, and I've been like that all my life. And when I was working with these young people that had, like, cerebral palsy, mild and severe learning difficulties, it kind of, the whole perspective of life kind of changed from there. For me, you just thought, wow, there's us doing what we're doing, and these people are living like this, and they're trying to live their best lives, and we're moaning about this and moaning about that, and they've got real struggles every day to actually live through. And it kind of resonated with me, and so I thought, you know what, I think I might like this. I might want to do this kind of work. So it was, because it was Manpower Service Commission, it's only like for 6 months or 9 months from there, and then you either get a job or you don't get a job. But in between that, I was offered a job at a place called Catherine Lowe Settlement. And the Catherine Lowe Settlement is in Battersea High Street, and they had a one night a week where they had young people with disabilities there, and the rest of the week was a normal youth club for all young people. So because I was working with the Manpower Services, I used to go over there of an evening. The one evening a week I used to go down there sometimes when the people with disabilities were there. So when the people saw me there, they offered me a job as a youth worker. I think starting as a part-time youth worker, and that must have been...
About how old was you about?
I was 87, so I'll be 25 then. I'll be 25 then. So and that was for a year. That was for a year. No, it's a year and a half. Hold on. I have to print that out. Right, yeah. Okay. So I worked at Catherine Lowe from May 87 to May 88, yeah, as a full-time youth worker. And that was covering a leave of absence 1 year. So I've gone from a part-time youth worker to a full-time youth worker for a year, and then back to a part-time youth worker, subsequently. And the thing with going from full-time to part-time is, as a full-time worker, you get to understand the runnings of the business and, how to manage people. And to this day, the hardest thing is to manage people. The job is the job. You've got the parameters of the job. It's managing the people to understand what their roles are from there. So I learnt that. And then going from full-time to part-time, I couldn't really deal with the fact that I'm now a part-time worker again, because the responsibility is all that's gone. People look at you different when you're not a full-time worker. It doesn't matter how you look at it, from there. So at that time, it was like, wow. So then I left there, and I worked at a place called because I was employed by Wandsworth Council then, before it was the Manpower Services Commission. So with Wandsworth Council, they said that there's opportunities you can go and work other places. And next door around the corner from the Catherine Lowe Centre, there was a place called the Battersea Central Mission. And in that building, there was a project called the Battersea Basement Studios. And that was a time of IT work. It was intermittent treatment in the 80s, where young people who were getting in trouble, rather than going to prison or all that, you try and engage them through. At that time, the new technology was the music, the photography, or the media thing was starting to build up. So they got the funding to set up that project. So they'd have like proper video courses, filming, they'd have proper music courses, they'd have what's it called? Where you would learn how to read and write music as well, but they'd do it via a computer. So I worked there as a computer. I was working as a computer worker, teaching them computing, basic level, plate, computer language and information technology classes through there, and that was really interesting because it was tied into the youth offending team. So they get young people who are on the youth offending team, they'd get referred to this intermittent treatment project, and I'd be there. So you'd have the bad boys and a couple of, back then you'd probably have 1-2 girls a year, let alone bad girls in the whole project, because the thing was, if you was a girl, you was naughty, you go to jail. You go to jail.
Right?
Yeah, back then it was like, off the rails girl, no, girls must be like this. So then you get very little chances, because the girl could do something and they'll get harsher punishment than the boy would do. That them in the 80s, from my experience, because we only must have had 2 girls in like a year.
I'm interested to know, was there any specific memories or people that you remember that made an impact on you? Because you talked a lot about the youth and the people you worked with. Was there anybody in particular who...
In my journey up until that time, the Catherine Lowe settlement was the guy his name was Colin. Can't remember his surname. Robert would remember his surname, but Catherine Lowe settlement was there's 3 people. There's Pauline Bennett, Jill Jones, and Colin. Pauline Bennett was a youth worker with people with disabilities. Jill Jones was the centre manager, and Colin was the bloke who run the youth service, the youth work part of it. So them 3 people had an impact. But before that, the person who employed me was a lady called Kathy Johnson, and we had a kind of a love-hate relationship, because she knew that I could do what I was saying, what I could deliver, but I'd do it as a maverick. Rather than follow the rules, I'd go around the back way to try and get it done from there. So I'd get in I'd have a lot of talks saying, no, Fred, you can't actually do that. So no, I'm telling you, I'm doing this because it works. You're doing it from paper, I'm doing this from feeling. And if you do it from script, you miss the touchy-feely part. So it's all about the heart. When you're working with anybody anyway, it's all about the heart if you've got a relationship with them, especially young people, because you know the transition they're going through adolescence, whether it be starting at 10 or whether it be starting at 18. There's still a period in their lives when they've got some kind of, we need to steady the ship for them from there. So that would have been there. Kathy Johnson had a big influence on me because she was the head of the youth service. Another man who was a big influence on me was a guy called Sean Dunkley, and he was the person who was instrumental in setting up and setting up the Battersea Basement project, and was instrumental in setting up the youth offending team as a multi-agency project from there.